Hi everyone, welcome back. Today, let's talk about Power Platform pipelines. ALM automation in Power Platform can be set up using Azure DevOps, but the process may be not as straightforward for everyone to set up. With Power Platform pipelines, ALM automation will be natively integrated into Power Platform with easier setup and monitoring. As organizations continue to expand low-code adoption, IT resources are being stretched to manage the growing number of low-code applications being developed. Let's see how Microsoft Power Platform provides security, governance, and compliance options for organizations of all sizes to easily and responsibly scale low-code without increasing requirements from IT. With Power Platform, for managing the ALM, we have so many options and tools and apps available. One way to manage the ALM is to use Power Platform Admin Center and use the configuration management tool, or use PowerShell modules or Power Platform CLI, or use Azure DevOps, GitHub Actions, or use Package Deployer or Solution Packager. In the previous video series, I've explained all these apps and tools in a detailed manner. We also created a separate video series for the Power Platform CLI, how to get started with the Power Platform CLI. Today, let's talk about how we can manage the ALM using Power Platform pipelines. Power Platform pipelines significantly reduce the effort and domain knowledge required previously for automating the ALM process within the team or organizations. With pipelines, admins can easily configure automated deployment pipelines in minutes rather than days or weeks. The environment makers can use the rich user experience for easily deploying their solutions. And for professional developers, we can run these pipelines using the preferred tools such as Power Platform Command Line CLI. Microsoft encourages customers to choose the tool that best suits their ALM needs. Power Platform pipelines are currently best suited for customers who are seeking simplicity, fast setup, and lower cost of ownership. Other tools such as Azure DevOps and other things often provide more advanced functionality and source code management, but it may be more complicated or costly to set up, use, and maintain. As a prerequisites for the pipeline, or to use and run pipelines, Microsoft recommends to use 3 to 4 environments. We need to have a host environment, development environment, QA environment, and production environment. QA environment is optional. Other than QA environment, we need to have other 3 environments, which is a mandatory environments. The Power Platform pipeline app is installed on the host environment. As soon as the Power Platform pipeline app gets installed on the host environment, a model-driven app named Deployment Pipeline Configuration is deployed along with the components like the tables, views, dashboards, right? With the help of these components, this app will be assisting us for deploying our solutions to other environments. The Deployment Pipeline Configuration app contains the components like environment setup, linked development environments, deployment stages, run history, solution artifacts, and pipeline dashboards to control and manage all the deployment stages and the history of the pipelines. In the upcoming video series, we'll be talking about how to choose the environments for the pipelines. Your company may contain a single tenant or a multi-tenant with different geolocations. We'll see how to set up the environments for those scenarios. Upon that, we'll be talking about how to install the Power Platform pipelines on the host environment. Later, we'll also discuss the detailed steps with screenshots to set up and configure the pipelines, and the detailed steps on how to run the pipelines in the development environment. The detailed steps with screenshot to set up and configure pipelines will be done in the host environment, and running the pipelines will be done in the development environment. We will also talk about how to monitor the pipelines, how to configure the security for the pipelines, what are the security rules available for the pipelines, and how to monitor the pipelines, and how the deployment artifacts are getting saved inside the pipelines. We'll talk about all these details in the upcoming video series. Let's talk about how to choose the environments for the pipelines. If your company has a single tenant and if you want to set up a single host for configuring the pipelines for different environments, then we can create a single host environment and configure the development and target environments inside the host environment. The host environment is a dedicated environment which acts as a storage and management plane for all the pipeline configuration, security and run history. Development environment will be used for developing the solutions, developing the unmanaged solutions. And QA is an optional environment. It will be used for deploying the solutions for testing prior moving them to production environment. And finally, the target environment. This is the prod environment where end users will run the apps from the the production environment. This is a required environment. Microsoft recommends these 4 environments for configuring and running the pipelines. If you want to configure multiple hosts for the same tenant for different business organization apps, then we can configure it like in the below diagram. So we can set up the host environments, multiple host environments like environment 1, 2, and 3, etc. and map the corresponding source and target environments based on the organization apps. If your company has multi-geo tenant and if you want to set up multiple hosts for the multiple geo regions, then it should be configured like this. We can create multiple hosts for different geo regions and we can configure the source and target environments. Before creating the environment, let's talk about the prerequisites. Microsoft recommends 4 environments like the host, dev, QA and prod, but we can use as few as 3 for the Power Platform environments to create the pipeline. All the environments used in the pipelines must have a Microsoft Dataverse database. And Microsoft Dataverse for Teams environment are supported for use with the pipelines. Power Platform Administrator or Database System Administrator role is required to install the pipeline and getting started with the pipeline. Power Platform pipelines are a future of managed environments. We'll need access to one or more environments that are enabled as a managed environments. Consider these prerequisites before creating the environments for your organization. So far, we have seen what are the tools and apps available for managing the ALM in Power Platform and how those are different from Power Platform pipelines. The major overview of Power Platform pipelines, how it gets installed and what are the environments required for getting started with Power Platform pipelines. And we also talked about the deployment pipeline configuration model driven app that is used for assisting the pipeline. We also talked about the deployment pipeline configuration model driven app which will be used to configure and run the pipelines, and how to choose the environments for the pipelines. In the upcoming videos, we'll talk about how to configure the pipelines, how to run the pipelines, how to configure the pipelines in the host environment, how to run the pipelines from the development environments to the target environments. Upon that, we also see a demo of how to set up these steps in the host environments and development environments. Thank you.